Hello and welcome to the FPL Mates Game Week 28 Wildcard Draft. We've got blanks this week and more on the horizon. We've got a fixtures swing swiftly coming our way, and a lot of managers are finding themselves rapidly dropping due to a complete switch up of the template. So whether you're looking for a second wind for the final stretch of the season, whether you want to see what the current meta might look like, or maybe you just want to look at what differentials are worth looking at, hopefully I've got just a wildcard draft for you. So I'll preface this draft by saying I won't be drafting in order of keepers, defence, midfielders, strikers. Let's be honest, that's not how we build our team. So I'm going to pick the most crucial players first, and then we're going to build around them, and hopefully that'll help you make your own modifications to this team based on your current setup and budget. So let's start you off with the most important player on your team, the absolute must pick of the team, and that is Trent AlexanderArnold. Whether it's clean sheets, assists or even goals, Trent is returning every single game week, and if you don't have him, you're guaranteed to lose points on your rivals. He's playing in the best defence in the league. He's also one of the most creative players in the league. He's scoring more points and more consistently than any, most premium midfielders and strikers, and he's a 7.7 million defender with no signs of slowing down. Don't try and be clever about it. Trent should be the first player on your team sheet. No arguments. Second up, it's KDB. Again, absolutely essential. He's the highest scoring, or perhaps the second highest scorer now in FPL this year. He has punished those who have sold him numerous times this season with some monstrous scores. He's done it to me, and I'm not going to let it happen again. City are the second best team in the league and the best attacking team, the best team at scoring goals. And De Bruyne is the only nailed-on attacking player, and he also happens to be, in many people's opinions, the best player in the league. Again, he's a player that you shouldn't try and overthink or be clever with. Just get him in your team. Next up, we need to put in one of Salah or Mane. You have to have at least one of them, just because they're absolute machines for fantasy points. Every other week, one of them will come at you with a 10-pointer, and they're both consistently involved with goals. I'm going to go for Salah in this draft, just because his attacking stats in 2020 can't be matched by any other player. I know Mane's had his injuries, but you can see from the stats that Salah has had that consistency. He's also got the benefit of penalties, of which Liverpool do get a few of. Plus, I do trust him with the captain's armband a little bit more, and I will be looking to captain him for at least the next several weeks. Others of you may prefer Mane, and if you do, go for him. He's cheaper, and he's actually a much better differential than Salah. I'm a Salah guy personally, but if you are on the other side of the fence, that's fine. The final essential player to build your team around is a non-specific third Liverpool player. You have to have 3 Liverpool players. You've got 3 slots to use, and you need to use all of them in your team. The third one, in my opinion, should go to one of the following players: Mane if you already have Salah, Salah if you already have Mane, Andy Robertson or Bobby Firmino. The rest, I think, are just a waste of these so-called Liverpool slots. Alisson gets the clean sheets, but so do the similarly priced defenders, but with the potential of attacking returns too, so that would be a waste of money. Gomez seems to offer a similar goal threat to Alisson, to be fair. He's never involved with goals. Van Dijk occasionally pops up with a header, but just not often enough to justify him over Robertson's creativity for just 0.4 million more. And then we know about the central midfielders at Liverpool. They never really pick up that many points, with the exception of maybe Henderson recently, who is now injured. So all of that makes the decision a lot easier. In this draft, we're going to go for Robertson. Robertson seems to be due an assist or two. He's creating a lot of chances. He has got a few assists recently, to be fair. And Liverpool don't seem to be slowing down those clean sheets either, with the exception of the West Ham game. Plus, having 2 Liverpool defenders, you can just play those 2 every single week, and it lessens the headache of trying to pick that third defender and trying to predict which of these many other teams that are constantly conceding goals are going to not concede goals on any particular week. It just lessens the headache. Next, I'm going to go for 3 strikers, and I warn you now, this is very templatey. There'll be no differentials in this attack, but I feel like it's the strongest one you can go for right now. First in the team, it's Danny Ings. He's only scored more than 1 goal this season on 1 occasion, but he's really consistent in scoring those 1 goals per game. He has been ever so slightly less consistent recently, with Shane Long taking his fair share of the limelight, to be fair. But I still back Danny Ings with the quality he has to be the main man at Southampton during this lovely run of fixtures they have. He's still getting loads of quality chances, and he could have easily had a goal against Villa. I trust him. He's in my team, at least until game week 33, where you can potentially shift him out and have a look at some other options. Then we have Jimenez, and although you could take a differential punt on Jota, I still prefer Jimenez as Hotter can find himself out on the wing, depending on what system Wolves are playing. I don't know how set their system is of playing two up front with Jimenez and Hotter, so not sure. He's incredibly consistent, Jimenez. He delivers week in, week out, and you just know he's got a massive point haul in him as well sometimes. His fixtures look very nice indeed, pretty much until the end of the season now, so you can just set and forget him quite easily with a fair degree of confidence. Finally, I'm going for Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and I think this is the slot where you could potentially put a differential if you wanted to, but I just can't ignore DCL. He's been in my team since Christmas, and I can't imagine my team without him. He's one of the cheapest starting strikers in FPL. He's scoring week in, week out. He's actually on 7 goals in 9 game weeks now, which is insane for his price. I really don't see how you can do better with your money. His fixtures don't look so good now, but he scores in some big games against Arsenal, Chelsea and City so far this season, so I wouldn't let the fixtures put you off that much. His fixtures do get very nice, again, right at the end of the season, so he is a bit of a long-term option in that sense too. And his ownership isn't like super high or anything, so he's still a good player to get a jump on your rivals. Right. Let's bang these goalkeepers out and then we can start getting creative with some differentials. So there's only 2 goalkeepers I've got in my mind for the final round of the season, and that's McCarthy and Pope. Both keepers rotate really nicely with each other, so you never have to play one in a tricky game, other than game week 35, which will mean playing McCarthy against Manchester United, but that could be a lot worse, couldn't it? Having 2 starting keepers also sets you up nicely for a bench boost whenever you're ready to do so. And they're both really fairly priced as well, so you don't need to break the bank either. I would say that this combo of keepers that costs 9.1 million, this combo, is far superior than picking, say, a 5.1 million keeper and then a non-playing 4 million keeper. It's the same price for both combos, but this way it offers more values. You can rotate, you can play the fixtures, and give you more confidence, and it doesn't break the bank. It's easy peasy for me. The other keeper I'm sure a lot of you will be looking at is Henderson. Honestly, since Henderson is 5.2 million now, and he blanks in game week 28, and then he'll blank again when they play Manchester United, I just don't think it's worth it, especially since Sheffield United's fixtures go sour after game week 30. Not worth it for me. Avoid, stick to these 2 beauties. Right. Let's have some fun. I'll start you off with a player I think is pretty obvious, or at least a position / team that's pretty obvious. So Leicester have a great run of fixtures in the next 4, arguably 5, or maybe 6 actually. So we want to get a Leicester attacking player for the short term. In my opinion, it has to be one of Barnes or Perez. Perez often charms in with random 15 pointers and then will go blank for the next 3 weeks in a row. Barnes, on the other hand, is a little more consistent. Stats suggest Barnes is a slightly better pick, as he is getting more chances to score, taking more shots, and he's a bit more of an all-round attacking threat. He's also 0.2 cheaper, which is also is always a cheeky bonus. And finally, he's only 2.8% ownership compared to the 9.1% of Perez. So that qualifies him as a great differential pick. After 4 games, Barnes can be a player you can look at getting out, to be fair. If you want to change up your midfield, that's fine, but until then, Barnes could be a great little pick. Next is Bruno Fernandes, and what an exciting player he is. He's come into this United side and completely changed them. He's clearly their best player, and they're clearly building around him. Forget Martial. For a little bit more budget, you can get this beast in. 2 assists and a goal in his last 2 games. He's taken plenty of shots, creating even more chances for other players, and he's definitely passing the eye test. Even in the Europa League, you can just see United are a genuine force with this guy on the pitch. He's a real threat, a really exciting and fun player to own in FPL. His fixtures turn really nice in a couple of weeks, so it'll be good to get him in nice and early, ready for that. And I just think he's a great option, but there are others in this template you could put in instead, perhaps a Richarlison or maybe Pepe. I wouldn't really look much further than that, to be honest, but for me, in this team, we're going to go for Bruno. I'm going to complete this midfield with a 3 to 5 week punt on Stuart Armstrong. He scored in 3 of his past 5 starts for Southampton, if you can believe it, and each of those games, he's returned with 9 points, so he looks good for bonus points too. He also looks nailed on amid their injury problems at Southampton, and as you know, Southampton have some good fixtures in the short term. The great thing about Armstrong is that as a short-term differential option, you don't need to worry about benching him too much because he's only 5.2 million, and that's a similar price to Cantwell and Fleck, and you'd have no problem benching them. So when you're done with him, just bench him if you don't want to use a transfer on him. Use and abuse this lad for your fantasy team, guilt-free. And if you do want to upgrade him or switch him out at a later point, that's fine, but he won't be a priority so long as you have other options on the bench, which in this wildcard draft, you do. So there you go, budget option to complete the midfield, Stuart Armstrong. Let's look at the final 3 defensive positions, and basically what we need is 3 players who can rotate to fill the 1 or 2 positions left in defence, depending on the game week obviously. I think the first team you have to look at, based on recent results, recent form, is Wolves. They are currently 3 clean sheets in their past 3 matches. With their fixtures, they're only getting easier. There are a few options in Wolves defence, depending on what you're looking for and what your budget is. So the cheapest option is Romain Saiss. A whopping 11 points in game week 27 has put him on everyone's radar. Saiss is the cheapest option at 4.4 million, and he's got a decent attacking threat. The only minor worry is that he's not 100% nailed and may rotate with Dendoncker in defence when the Europa League fixtures get a little bit heavy. The next option is Willy Bolly. He's nailed on in the Wolves team, and from set pieces, Wolves always seem to be aiming basically for Bolly's head. So he's definitely due a headed goal, and he's much more of a bonus points magnet than the other Wolves defenders when they get clean sheet. At 4.7 million, he's sort of the mid tier. And then finally, at 6.1 million, we have Matt Doherty, an attacking right wing back who was a must-have last season, let's be honest. Doherty has started picking up some lovely points recently with his clean sheets, and is also creating a lot of chances at the moment, getting an assist in his last game. What is more interesting though is that Doherty has a lot of goal-scoring opportunities. In fact, he has the most big chances of any defender in FPL this season, and more than many midfielders and strikers, to be fair. He's one of those players who's definitely due a goal. He does occasionally pop up with a goal, and he's more than capable of a nice 10-pointer plus, and that's what we're looking for really. The only thing is his expensive price, and that is a really expensive price. At this price, you'd probably be looking to play him almost every single game, but if you do have the budget, and honestly at this stage it is hard to spend all your budget, then he's definitely worth a punt, so he'll be going straight into this wildcard draft. So given that we've gone all out with Doherty, we can scrimp a bit on the other 2 defenders. So we're going to go budget. We're going to pick some nice budget options with Charlie Taylor and John Egan. Charlie Taylor has had absolutely no attacking returns this season, I'm not going to lie to you. But he's defensively, he's in an informed Burnley side who seem to be keeping way more clean sheets than they should. Fixtures in the next 3 game weeks aren't ideal, but we don't need him in the short term anyway. As a fullback, there is always the hope that Taylor might bang it across for an assist, but I honestly wouldn't count on it. For 4.2, you've got a guaranteed starter in a strong defence. You could do a lot worse. John Egan is the cheapest starting Sheffield United defender. Sheffield like to defend and see games out, and given that we don't have Dean Henderson in this team, it's good to get at least one of Sheffield United's defensive assets. Since Egan is going to blank this game week, we can just put him on the bench for now. But after that, we know for guaranteed that he's going to have 1 week where he's going to get a double game week, where he faces Villa as one of those 2 games. And since he's nailed, he'll play both of those games that double game week whenever it falls, and it could actually give us a really tasty score. So he's definitely worth having in your team with that week in mind. So there we have it, all 15 players. If you go for this exact team, then in game week 28 you'd be looking to bench KDB obviously because he blanks, Egan because he blanks, and then the third outfield player bench would be Taylor. Then you can start Pope to cover your potential Burnley clean sheet against Newcastle, and then bench McCarthy against West Ham, who we know are capable of scoring in spite of their woeful defence. I think the team looks really, really good, but please do let me know what you think of it. If you did find this video useful at all, please do consider leaving a like. At my current tiny channel size, even 1 like makes a big difference, so I really do appreciate it. And if you're looking for more informative FPL content, please stick around by subscribing and turning those notifications on. That's all from me today. I hope to see you on the next one, and I'll see you later, mates.